Hi guys, happy Tuesday and welcome to the morning after. So today we are talking about episode 5 of Ari's season of The Bachelor. I'm going to say it right now, I am loving this season, loving it. And you guys know I don't say that about every season. So I thought, as usual, we'll start off with the Maltesers moment. And as you know, the Maltesers hashtag life goals are a play on hashtag life goals, meaning more attainable goals in our everyday lives. So I twisted around to try to find a way to make this apply to a life goal because I really loved this moment and wanted it to be the Maltesers moment. And so I think I succeeded. And that was when, at the rose ceremony cocktail party, Crystal attempted to manipulate Ari into... She sort of played the victim and was like, oh, the reason I reacted the way I did to all the bowling stuff was XYZ, and I grew up in a bowling alley, and my mother did this, and I'm not discounting any of her past, but I don't really feel that it applied to this moment. And what I loved is how he dealt with it. He would just diffused it immediately. He wrote, I think I made it clear during that little talk. I said, I'm not taking time away from you. I'm adding time to the evening. And you didn't know if I had anything planned for you. So I feel that this wasn't the correct response. If you think this is hard, after this is twice as hard or more, and that's why I need somebody I can count on. So what I loved is the combination of not getting manipulated and kind of breaking the fourth wall in addressing how difficult it will be after the show. So the hashtag life goal is avoiding manipulation and breaking fourth walls? Yes, I think so. So yay. Okay, so moving on. Such a good episode. It had a little bit of everything. It had drama that didn't feel contrived, which is hard to come by nowadays. And it had some really good sentimental moments. Like that date with Tia was like solid. And I don't think you've ever heard me say this about anyone, and I'm going to say it right now. I have like a mini TV crush on Ari, how he dealt with Crystal and a lot of the conversations that were had. And probably above all, how he never just resorts to using the same old trifecta of adjectives when describing a woman, which are smart, funny, and beautiful, which I think Chris LaRue said about every single woman on his season of Bachelor Canada, season 3, in case we have any Americans watching. Chris LaRue said about every single woman, I'm pretty sure, he said that she was smart, funny, and beautiful, and it got really old really fast. And Ari does not do that, and I love it. So, okay, I'm like getting behind already. So we're going to start with Chelsea's one-on-one. I've got to give Chelsea credit. I feel like she really took the women's words to heart in episode 2 and really like took a step back. Like she has not been in the center of any drama since episode 2 where she took Ari first for the second time. So she, you know, in the premiere, she kind of made herself public enemy number 1. She got the first impression rose. But ever since then, she's been super classy and laid back, and that I don't think has gone unnoticed. And she's clearly got friends in the house. I got to agree with Sian, though, and this was not kind of a shit-talking thing. Sian said in a girl chat back at the house that she's surprised that Chelsea got this date simply because she would have thought that if Chelsea were to get a one-on-one date, it would have been sooner. And I do agree with that. God, I really like Chelsea. She's got the wisdom of a person who has learned lessons. You know, those lessons have not come for free. And I really feel like money is not discussed as much as it should be on this show, and I really liked how she kind of went there, you know, talking about their extravagant surroundings and how it just isn't totally necessary, and how she really got burned by, you know, leading with that in the past. And God, she's just great. I really loved how it touched on that, and notice how she was able to talk about her past, her difficult past, her very difficult past. And I'm not comparing sob stories here, but she had a reticence to talk about it versus Crystal, who you felt she had told that story many times and maybe kind of had it down. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean to discount either sob story or compare them or anything. It's just the delivery and willingness to talk about it. Okay, so group date. Whew. So anyone who's seen this show before, can we just say, it's almost a given that if you're going to have a competition group date where one team could go home, it's like a 50% chance that the lead is going to just kibosh the rules and like allow both teams to come. This has happened a lot in the past. And this was, wow, what a big reaction from Crystal. This was just epic TV. Because it did not feel producer pushed. It really didn't. You know, you could see her seething, and it was just such good reality TV. And we saw that moment where, I don't know if you guys know this, but the mic packs, you can't take them off or put them on yourself. Like, they don't want, because they're really expensive little mics, they don't want you just sort of, you know, hopping in the pool or like taking it off yourself, or just sort of, they're just fairly delicate. So that moment where you saw her say, is someone going to take this off from me, or if not, I'm just going to do it myself. Like, the way she spoke to the people who, you know, would assist her in that really showed some true colors there, because it was really nasty. Yes, it just says a lot about a person, about the way they will speak to production. And I love how Kendall shut Crystal down here to her face. She said, kindness is one of the most important things to me, and I feel that did not exhibit kindness. And she was talking about Crystal, I guess, shit-talking Ari and the bus ride to their next destination. And what I just loved here, how Crystal was just left speechless. You know, she's actually not great with conflict. She isn't. It's almost like she has stock responses, and if what she's told does not, one of her stock responses does not jive with what's just been said to her, she is kind of left speechless. Overall, this was, you know, I loved it, but in her interest, this was really an idiotic move on her part overall, because it just speaks to, you know, if you were considering her as your future wife, hashtag wife material, it speaks to a life of like temper tantrums and manipulation and entitlement, wanting to feel special and different. And I get that you want that in your, you know, in your partnership, but not this early on. And I thought that Ari just dealt with it perfectly. And I love that he went up there, he gave her time, he spoke to her, and then he let her stay up there to mope alone. And I wrote that it had an almost disciplining, fathering element to it. It was almost like he was like slapping her on the wrist. He's like, I recognize what you're doing. Are you trying to teach me a lesson? Okay, well, you can stay here alone. Okay, so Tia's one-on-one. I caught myself smiling a lot during this date. It was such a beautiful date. I love them together. And again, so to tie back Ari's lack of just calling women smart, funny, and beautiful, Ari said, Tia is very herself, comfortable in her own skin. You know, she calls it how she sees it. I mean, what would you rather be called? A generic, smart, funny, beautiful, or that? I mean, it's just beautifully put. I really related to Ari mentioning putting his helmet on and becoming a completely different person, just because I feel that way in my career. People are always shocked to meet me and find that I'm actually super shy, especially in large groups, but yet you would probably never guess that based on how I am on stage, and so I appreciated that and could relate to it. In the evening, Ari said, I really love the fact that you're very much yourself through all this, like ever since I met you. Again, not smart, funny, beautiful, and also it's something I value in others, and I feel like a lot of my readers probably value in others, just that consistency and authenticity. God, and then they talk about faith. Oh my God, there was so much good stuff in this episode. So Tia asks if if Ari feels that there's a higher power leading him to, you know, leading him down his path. And he says, I don't know if there's a higher power leading me. I feel like I make a lot of my own destiny. And I love how he worded this, because he clearly made it, you know, he made it clear how he feels about it, but he's not, again, discounting how anyone else feels about their faith or their beliefs or a higher power. And then he says, could you marry someone who doesn't have that faith? And this is when I developed my crush on him. This is when I realized my crush had been developed. I love you, Andy, but yeah, this was a moment where I just love that it went there, and the default on this show is to often not talk about it at all, or for it to just be the default of we all believe in God and we all have the same faith, and you know, faith is this thing that's just sort of understood that they're all on the same page about, and that's not really real life. And you could meet someone that you're really drawn to, but who has a different faith. And so I just love that this was touched on. Loved it. Ah, so much good stuff in this episode. And also the music on this date, super powerful. I feel like Tia's gonna win. I talk about this in my Flair recap. I mean, I put her at first. If she doesn't win, she's going to make final 2. I don't know any spoilers. Maybe I'm super wrong. But God, it was a really good date. It was really powerful. Oh, finally, mic drop. Ari said, I feel more myself when I'm around her than any of the other women. Enough said. Okay, so rose ceremony. Kendall had a lot of quotables this week. She said, people don't make you do anything. You're responsible for your own actions, and I think Crystal should be too. I wrote, bingo. Not only can this be applied to Crystal's behavior on the show, but also overall in terms of her edit, if that makes sense, because, you know, people often think, oh, a producer made her do this, or made her say this, or encouraged her to say this. There's definitely nudging, but, you know, you are responsible for everything that comes out of your mouth and all of your actions on that show. Case in point, all the people that manage not to come off, you know, unfavorably. So I do think she is in many ways responsible for her own actions. I talk about this a bit more in my Flair recap. Hate to repeat myself. Again, Ari just dealt with everything so well. So beyond perfect. He said, I don't want to lose what we have, so I feel like I need you to be really thoughtful and really think through some of the reactions that you have. Again, and it felt like a disciplining thing. And, I mean, bless her heart, Crystal is not a bad person, but you could even see her not processing what he was saying here. It's like she's nodding in a way that she knows will be received well, but it's not like registering. And I wonder if in real life, I suspect in real life, maybe it's not like this. So in typical episode 5 fashion, 3 girls are axed. This is very par for the course. And is it just me, or did Ari seem like he did not want to call Crystal's name at that rose ceremony? He definitely did not seem gung-ho about that. Okay, so I have a couple of questions from you guys. Ishani Nath asked, you've called Crystal one of the best villains in Bachelor history. Do you still agree after last night's episode? Yes, I do. I still feel that way. I feel that way more strongly than ever. I say this in my Flair recap, but I don't want Crystal to leave, which is saying a lot, because she's such good television, and it doesn't feel like she's having the rug completely like pulled out from under her like it did with, say, Olivia. I think she's fantastic. Lola Hensley asked, do you think the women are being unusually cruel to Crystal or no? I don't think so. You know, I think that in some cases, you know, there was a moment here or there where I felt Becca M like maybe mocked her unnecessarily in the way like Wells Adams mocked Scallop Fingers, Kirsten, you know, on Bachelor in Paradise. God, I forget which show. With so many Bachelor shows. But I don't think it's easy for someone to ruffle as many feathers as Crystal has ruffled and not be made fun of. I think that, yes, there is like a little bit of meanness there, but in general, I feel like they've been really respectful. Like, I thought the way Kendall handled Crystal was excellent. Like, she really, like, she made the effort to have that conversation. Daphne77 asks, I find Nick Viall super compelling, but his season was Dullsville, in my opinion. To me, Ari is super boring, but his season has been awesome so far. Do you agree that this has been a better season, and if so, why? This is tricky because I know Nick personally, and so it kind of like skews things. I've never met Ari or had any exchange with Ari. But I do agree, a lot of you have said that there's something vintage feeling about this season. Like, it feels like a season from like 5 or 6 years ago in a good way. And I'm inclined to agree. I think the problem with Nick's season is that it was just overrun by Corinne. You know, all I remember from Nick's season was Corinne. That's truly, and that's a shame. And, you know, I feel like it became too much about that fabricated drama instead of the connection. You know, she got a hometown without even having a one-on-one date. Like, it was the Corinne show, and that I personally don't think does Nick justice, and it was a true shame. So I agree that as a season, this is a better season. I think that we're seeing a more of an even amount of like airtime and detail for each woman. Like I say in my recap, I just don't even know who the front runners are. Like, there's just so many good candidates and who are getting equal airtime, and so it's really hard to say, and that makes it's a lot more interesting if you don't know the spoilers and you like want to predict. It's way more interesting. So I would say I am enjoying this season more. And it's not against Nick, I love him, but it was the Corinne show. Okay, so do not forget to participate in the hashtag Rose Goals challenge, the Maltesers Rose Gold Challenge. You are watching the show anyway, so you might as well go put in your predictions and potentially win prizes, including a trip to Toronto. So, yay Toronto. So be sure to check out my Flare recaps coming out today and my Pretty Pandas recap later on. If you have any fashion requests, please email them to me. It makes it a lot easier for me. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. That was a long one. Whew. Thank you for tuning in the morning after. See you next Tuesday.